Good morning. Today on Spotlight, inside this week's Rainbow Push 25th Anniversary Year Automotive Summit. What's on tap for the auto industry and its minority suppliers and dealers? John Graves, chairman of Rainbow Push, will tell us. And later on our Sunday morning program, why are Americans increasingly stressed about election year politics? What can be done to turn this negative into a positive? Dr. Stephen Huprick of the University of Detroit Mercy, a psychologist, will share his thoughts. It's Sunday, September the 29th. I'm Chuck Stokes, and this is Spotlight. Welcome to Spotlight. John Graves kicks off our program today. John Graves, good seeing you. You're doing okay?
I'm doing fine, and thank you for having us on this morning.
It's certainly our pleasure. All right, just 3 days away from the kickoff of the 25th Rainbow Push Automotive Summit that's always here in the city of Detroit. 25 years.
25 years.
Long time.
Long time.
Before we get into talking about what's going to happen this year, reflect back a little bit for me. Reverend Jesse Jackson certainly is synonymous with this summit. And a lot of times I hear people say, well, what does Rainbow Push do? This is one of the key things that they do, and so much of it is kind of under the radar, but I heard someone say the other day, they said, if people knew how effective Rainbow Push has been in terms of the automotive industry and minorities, they would be shocked.
No doubt about it. You know, and thank you for recognizing our dream team of one, Reverend Jesse Louis Jackson. He sends his regards.
All right.
But Reverend had the vision.
Give him my best.
I would do so. He had the vision to partner with the automotive company 40 years ago, even before the summit began. He was in the boardrooms. He was talking to Ford Motor Company about dealerships, and they responded. He was speaking to General Motors about having an African American on their board. And as you know, Reverend Leon Sullivan, not only was he the first African American on a corporate board, he was the first African American on GM board. So Reverend has been
and a legend in his own right.
And a legend in his own time. The show is not enough time to really speak about Dr.
Right.
Sullivan. But Reverend has worked fearlessly, tirelessly, on behalf of minority suppliers, minority dealerships. And I mean, his impact is just unbelievable. I mean, the phone calls that he would get and the response, no matter where he was in the world, flying in to put out a fire or to start a fire.
And a whole lot of people became millionaires and multi-millionaires because of what he did in terms of shaking up the boardrooms.
No doubt about it.
Making that intro for them.
No doubt about it.
What should we expect this year? I hear two major themes. One is DEI.
Yes. Well, DEI, as you know, is under attack. Mm-hmm. And
yes.
You know, DEI started in the 60s. So it probably needs to be retooled, renamed, but the work cannot stop. And that's what we are so fortunate in the auto industry, that all of the companies have been responsive. They've worked with us throughout the years, and they take this very seriously. I mean, we don't have quotas or any expectations, but are you better than you were last year?
Yeah, but let me ask you, because you're inside and you
Yes.
see it from the inside, not from the outside. We certainly know that diversity, equity, and inclusion is celebrated in some corporations,
Yes.
but we also know that it is politically under attack
Yes.
in some areas as well. And certainly Ford received some recent
Yes.
publicity and criticism, and people were afraid that they were tooling back on that. From the inside, is that really happening, and are you seeing diminishing going on in terms of minority suppliers and dealers getting their piece of the pie?
Well, first of all, let me define piece of the pie.
Okay.
You know, there are 1,800 dealerships in the country. There are only 1,500 minority dealerships, and of that amount, about 300 African Americans. So it's unreasonable to say that because we represent, you know, approximately 14% of the population, that we will ever get our piece of the pie. It's unreasonable. But what we have done is begin to close the gap. And we're working every day to make sure, and we're partnering with these companies. That's why this whole term about DEI, I'm not concerned about that as much as those outside. All of the companies still have head of diversity within the auto space. All of them, two of them are going to be recognized this year at the summit. But it's not what you're called, it's what your work is. What are you doing? We are a quilt.
And these partnerships, I imagine, because contractually, a lot of times, are long periods of times,
Yes.
and they can weather the ebbs and flows of the political climate at any given time.
No doubt about it. And we allow them to come up with programs also. So sometimes we bring programs to them like the auto technician program because we know that there's going to be a shortage. We're partnering with them as related to engineers and data scientists and all of that space in anticipation of EV. No company has shut their door to us.
All right, and you said something that I want to pick up on.
Yeah.
Let me get to a quick little break. We'll come back and we'll pick up on EV and the training in the future.
Yes.
We'll be right back. Stay with us. Talking to John Graves, he is chairman of Rainbow Push. Developing your talent for tomorrow's industry, and certainly electric vehicles, EV, is a part of that. But it has received criticism because the growth of the sales, or we shouldn't say growth of the sales unless we put quotes around it, has not been what people expected.
Consumers are saying, well, let's hang with the hybrids a little bit longer. So I think you're going to see instead of 2032, it's going to be somewhere around 2035. But because of the carbonization, EVs are coming. I mean, it's a must for the
You're convinced of that. Maybe
yeah.
not on the timeline that
Yes.
was originally projected, but
Yes.
that is the future.
Oh, yes. I mean, they build $3, $4, $5 billion battery facilities all around the country. So it's coming. But now we are extending the hybrid just a little bit longer. And that's been our major concern, to make sure. You often see heads of mobility, heads of EV being hired. They all are coming from Tesla and Silicon Valley. 10 years from now, they'll still be coming from Tesla and Silicon Valley unless we change the pipeline structure. So that is one of the reasons why we've invited Janine Uzel, who's the CEO of the Society of Black Engineers, to fill that pipeline.
She's going to be keynote speaker this coming week.
Yes.
Front and center.
Front and center for the first time, an African-American female will be speaking at our lunch. And so unless we fill this pipeline, 10 years from now, you will not have people of color or inclusion that will be heading these various departments.
And that's a major concern with Rainbow Push, is whether or not minority suppliers are going to be in the EV market and other future areas of the automotive industry, and whether or not we're going to have enough African American engineers trained and ready to go for the industry of the future. Because I just did an interview last week with the executive director of the Detroit Engineering Society,
Yes.
and he was talking about the dismal numbers
Right.
of African American engineers compared to white males, Asians, and Hispanics.
Yeah. And you know, we give scholarships. This year we give 55 scholarships to deserving students around the country, mostly in the state of Michigan. But we find athletes, for example, are majoring in sports management because they want to be agents, and they have a 3.8, 3.9. We like, come on, guys. You know, let's exercise your God-inlated, your God-gift talent, and go beyond just sports. You already have that gift, and you test well in science and math. Why not be an engineer? Why not be a computer engineer?
And I assume Ms. Uzel is going to be talking about the role that she's playing with colleges in getting young people ready, and probably in particular historically black colleges and universities?
Exactly. She came from, it's a coincidence, North Carolina A&T, which is the same alma mater as Reverend Jackson. But that's where she's going to focus. We must fill the pipelines. You know, there's an old adage that we hear in corporate America, well, we couldn't find anybody.
Yeah.
Well, we
we've heard that.
want to change that paradigm. We want to have the cup running over with minority engineers, African American engineers.
Right. Well, quick final question time is always our worst enemy. You mentioned it earlier. You will do a scorecard again this year, correct?
Yes.
For the
Yes.
industry.
Yes, and there are 6 areas we will look at: advertising and marketing, dealerships, procurement, C-suite, and philanthropy. And we grade them green, yellow, and red. I'm glad to say that there are no reds this year, and there have not been any reds in the last previous years. But these scorecards are set up not with quotas or goals. They're saying, can you be better this year than you were
Or
last
last
year?
year.
And you determine what better means. And we will collectively work together to move the ball down the field in this sports town, if I could use that analogy.
It goes well in this sports town. John Graves, thanks so much for coming in. I'll make sure that our news department knows that the summit is coming up this week, and my good guess is there'll be some cameras down there capturing all the important work that you're doing.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And when we come back, we'll turn our attention to if you're feeling stressed out because of the upcoming election, we have a psychologist who's going to tell you what you can do to take that anxiety and turn it into something positive. We'll be right back. Stay with us. And welcome back to Spotlight. Joining us now is Dr. Stephen Hubrick. He is a professor of psychology at the University of Detroit Mercy. He's also an adjunct professor at Michigan State University and Western Michigan University. And you have your own clinical private practice,
Yes,
correct?
I do.
All right, very good. You're a busy man.
Yes.
Dr. Hubrick, absentee ballots were mailed out in Michigan, or started mailing them out last week. So it's becoming very real now.
Right.
It's time to make decisions, and people have a few more weeks to decide whether they do it absentee or they go in person. Let me read you a couple statistics that I recently saw, which I'm sure you're familiar with. According to the American Psychiatric Association annual mental health survey, U.S. adults are more anxious than ever before, 43% in 2024 compared to 37% in 2023 and 32% in 2022. So it's clearly going up. And 3/4 of respondents identified this year's presidential election as one of the biggest reasons why.
Yes.
Clearly, people are feeling anxiety.
Right.
For lots of different reasons, and we don't have time to even get into all the
Yeah.
reasons. But what can be done about that if you're feeling anxiety and stress?
Yeah, well, you know, the trend you're talking about is very real. And we actually saw it starting back in 2020 with the pandemic. And mental health care, psychiatric diagnoses, mental health usage, all across the board went up. And it is right now really high, I think. People are really anxious, but they also are very angry. They're also very confused. They're also worn out from what they're seeing.
They're worried about what the future may hold.
Absolutely, very worried. So, you know, you ask a really good question, what can be done about it? I think the first thing is if you have somebody in your life that you can kind of go to as sort of a confidant, somebody who knows you and understands you, to seek out and get social support from a trusted friend.
And don't be ashamed.
Oh, absolutely not. No. Chances are very good your friend has very similar feelings. Right?
You can go together.
That's right, right. But, you know, I think reaching out to somebody who cares about you and you care about, and just to talk about the anxiety and all the heightened emotion that you're feeling, I think that can be a really adaptive strategy. Now,
what are some of the signs that you may not immediately recognize that conscious or unconscious, that you're getting more stressful or anxiety? What are things to look for?
Yeah, well, I think one thing is just people report a general level of felt stress, and oftentimes they can find that in their body. So they just feel more tense, they feel more on edge. They're often very tired and fatigued. I hear a lot of that from people right now. So that's certainly a sign. If you're more irritable with people, especially people you care with,
Short
care
with
about.
people.
Yeah, short, irritable, that absolutely is a sign. So I think if you're noticing these things, if you're finding yourself also preoccupied, thinking about these political issues, the vote, the concerns in the country, who's going to be the best candidate, if you're finding yourself obsessing or ruminating or worrying day in and day out about that, that's a real problem. And that's when you need to get some help and check in with yourself that it's time to do something.
Do people oftentimes get an overload because they're constantly having the television on or the radio on or or social media during their phones? And granted, whether it's the political ads or it's just talk radio, talk television, if you're going to have it on those channels,
Right.
even if you're trying to cook in the background, it's going to be there. Would you be better to kind of police yourself in terms of what you're watching, how much you're watching or listening to it, and maybe switching it off to something that's more upbeat from time to time?
Absolutely. One of the things any marketing person or media person would tell you is that, repeating the message has a big impact. But also, part of that repetition is that it does stay in our minds and in our brain. And so whether we know it or not, there can be parts of our brains that are trying to process or work through the information, the concerns that we're hearing. So if you're finding yourself more stressed, or it's just been a hard day and you're turning the news on or you're looking at your social media and you're finding, oh boy, here's all these concerns, absolutely turn it off. You don't need to have any more exposure to it. Chances are, you know the issues, you know the concerns
Right.
already. You don't need to hear them again and just to heighten that worry.
Okay, we need to take a quick little pause for a cause. When we come back, we'll talk about how maybe turning some of these quote unquote negatives into positives.
Okay.
We'll be right back with Dr. Hubrick right after this. Dr. Hubrick, let me throw another statistic at you that I saw. According to the nonpartisan organization called More in Common, 71% of Americans expect more politically motivated violence. I'm also reading from all these articles that are out there now talking about political anxiety and stress, is that clinical people such as yourself are increasingly concerned that it's not just mental health, that this is also affecting people's chronic health, potentially, and physical health. True?
Absolutely. Stress manifests itself, and those kind of concerns manifest themselves not only in our emotional life, but in our physical life too. And as I was saying earlier, people wear down, they feel more fatigued than usual, they have difficulty concentrating, they walk around with more tension, but also things like blood pressure can be impacted. If you have a chronic medical condition, stress interacts with most chronic medical conditions to worsen symptoms. So, it's a tough time right now.
Sure.
And especially if you have a health concern.
All right, let's look at the flip side of this. Politics, political engagement is important because the decisions that are made go to the quality of all of our life.
Right.
How do we take this and turn it and make politics positive in our life? And what can we do as individuals and as groups to make a difference in the future of this country?
No, that's a great question. So much right now, we hear all these bad things and all these terrible things that are happening, and candidates making various promises and campaigning on certain themes. And it's easy to just say, oh, this is too overwhelming, I need to just check out, step back, I don't know, I don't like either person or
I'm not going to vote, which is
Right.
not the answer.
That's right. And actually, what I was going to say is voting actually is a really helpful way or a powerful way to help yourself in terms of how you make a contribution. Voting is a core aspect of our democracy. The idea is that everybody's voice matters, everybody's voice should be heard and counted. And we know in a lot of states, such as ours, that elections can come down to a slim number of votes.
That's absolutely right.
When you recognize the power that you have in that vote and that you actually are making a difference in the future, that can be a very powerful kind of thing, and it can help you with all of this distress and anxiety and the hostility that maybe is felt, to be able to say, I did something. We wear the I voted little symbol, stickers that they give you. Such an important mark that we can carry with us that we are actually doing something to make a difference.
Yeah, and none of us know when we go vote and cast our ballot if the person we want to win or persons will win. But we do know that even if they don't, if you don't vote and the person that you wanted to win doesn't win, I would imagine there's still, whether you admit it or not, a little guilt feeling back there saying, you know what? And especially if it's like you said, a super close race, it came down to a handful, you say, I could have really made a huge difference and I didn't, and shame on me.
Right, absolutely. And I've heard people not voted or they write in a candidate. Well, okay, maybe you feel better that you wrote in a candidate, but here's the reality. One of only two people will be elected to the position you're voting for. That's the reality. You need to think about, okay, who can I most align with? Who am I most comfortable with in this? So absolutely. And if you don't vote, then you may be sitting back and wondering, especially if it's close, boy, maybe I should have got out there and do my civic duty.
Right.
Yeah.
Dr. Hubrick, thank you so much for coming in, sharing this knowledge and information with us. We will stay in touch with you because I had a sneaky feeling that even after Election Day, we're going to need to talk to you about whatever happened and how people might best process.
Sure, happy to meet with you again.
All right, thanks so much. And I'm Chuck Stokes. We'll be back next week with more newsmakers in the spotlight. We hope you have a great week.